Hey everybody, Shwazy here, and in today's video we're going to be doing something a little bit different, and that is a POV night drive behind the wheel of the AMG EQE SUV. The lighting is one of the most amazing parts about this vehicle, and I have to show it off on camera, and I think I have to do it at night because that really is the only way I can partially do it justice. Coming up front, you have LED running lights. You've also got LED light bar that extends all the way from the passenger side to the driver's side. It also has dynamic lights or digital light effects where it will actually project images onto the road. So the lighting here is truly incredible. And then coming over to the side, you do have LED lights within the door handle itself. So as you unlock the vehicle, you'll notice that these handles will pop out and they'll also light up around the door handle itself. And on the ground, of course, you have different effects. So when you open the door, it's one effect. When you close the door, there's actually a different effect where it will illuminate a Mercedes logo onto the ground. So let me lock this vehicle and unlock it. And you'll notice the Mercedes logo on the ground there. Now, coming over to the back, LED light bar in the back as well. They call this kind of the Helix design. Looks really good. Very distinctive. This definitely looks different than a lot of other vehicles on the road. Whether you like it or not, it does look like it's kind of from the future. And that is evidenced by even the door handles that kind of recess back into the vehicle when you lock it, and the sounds that this thing makes when you lock and unlock it. It sounds like something from the future, very menacing. But that finishes off the exterior. Now let's jump inside and let's get on the road. All right, jumping inside, push the brake pedal, hit the start-stop button, and this vehicle turns on. Now, I'm personally going to set it to this mode, which is ultramarine. It's got to be my favorite mode because of the purple and the blues. And let's get going in this thing. Now, my favorite mode to drive in is the strong regen mode. So I tap on the left-hand side of the steering wheel for the paddle shifter, and that will turn on strong regen, because then I can technically drive with just one pedal. It's kind of cool. It makes it feel like I really drive lazy, I guess, because I don't have to tap on the brake pedal. And the reason I partially do that is because this one comes with the optional carbon ceramic brakes, and I personally think they're just a little too grabby or not grabby enough, and so it's kind of hard to gauge how to use these brakes, so I'd rather rely on the regen braking to do most of the brake work. Now, as we drive over some train tracks, couple things I want to point out that I pointed out in my full review is it is a pretty soft ride overall. I'm sitting right now in comfort mode, so this isn't gonna, tighten up the suspension like it would in Sport Plus, but in comfort mode, it's pretty soft. I think the EQE 500 that I reviewed just a few months ago was a little bit softer because this one does have the AMG Sport Tune suspension, but I would say this is even quieter than the EQE 500. Now, my particular vehicle that I'm sitting in today has the acoustic package, and so I think that probably has something to do with it. It adds, additional sound-absorbing glass and laminated glass in the front and the windshield, and so I think that makes a difference. But it's really hard to tell speed in this vehicle because it's so quiet and there's no motor sound or anything. That you can be exceeding the speed limit without even knowing it. It's easy to break the law here, so you kind of have to always be either looking at the head-up display speedometer or the one down here on the gauge cluster. Since we're going to be here for a minute, let me change to a different color theme. This one is Miami Rose. It kind of gives me Barbie-like vibes for some reason, but I like it. I also want to point out the different effects that my particular vehicle comes with. It's an added option, but when you turn up the temperature, it'll change red. When you turn it down, it'll turn blue. If you're merging on the freeway or really anywhere and there happens to be somebody in your blind spot, it'll flash red on the side that somebody is there so that you're not going to crash into them. And here we are about to enter onto the freeway. I'm going to actually put it in a Sport Plus mode. And this is like a roller coaster here. Check it out. To be completely honest with you, I don't love doing it because of how powerful it is, and it actually causes motion sickness. I'm not the type of person that's great on roller coasters. I get pretty motion sick pretty easily, and so this is definitely like that experience. But it's still incredibly amazing. I mean, don't get me wrong, it is one of the quickest electric vehicles I've ever driven. I think the closest to this is the Rivian R1S, R1T with the quad motor setup. It's very similar. And possibly the BMW i4, but you know, full disclosure, I haven't reviewed the performance version of the Tesla Model 3 or Model Y to give you a solid answer. I just reviewed the mid-range, but you know, I imagine it's pretty close. But there's not very many electric vehicles that can meet this type of acceleration. Hummer EV was not on par with this. This is quicker for sure. And this is the most luxurious one as well. This is more luxurious than a Rivian, than a Tesla. There's no doubt about it. I mean, just taking a look at this interior, it's gorgeous, and there's really nothing quite like it. Now, the BMW iX M60 is probably the closest competitor to this. It does have pretty similar power, very similar horsepower, acceleration. I haven't driven it or reviewed it, but the interior of that one is more tuned towards sportiness than it is towards luxury. This, on the other hand, is definitely more luxurious. I've seen it, I've sat in one, and the EQE is a more luxurious vehicle. Now, exterior styling, I'll leave that up to you, but interior-wise, this thing has a little bit more pizzazz. And you'll notice here we're going about 70 miles an hour, and you can't really hear what's going on outside. I mean, you can, obviously, you know you're in a moving vehicle, but you know, this truck drove right by me and I could barely hear it. So it's a very quiet cabin overall. And then the safety tech here is really good as well. Although it can sometimes be obnoxious where it kind of does too much, the nice thing here is, you know, if you set it onto your cruise control and set it to 70 miles an hour, it will automatically change lanes for you as necessary to avoid slow moving vehicles. And I like it. There are times that it's kind of moved into left or right lane for no apparent reason, but those are few and far between. For the most part, it's done a really good job keeping me safe and at the same time getting me to my destination in a quicker period of time. Now, there is another mode I want to show you. If you go to Energizing Comfort, this is also an optional feature. I believe it's around 200 bucks, so it's really not that much in the grand scheme of things. But this is kind of a set of meditation lessons or meditation periods that you could use when you're charging the vehicle or just to, you know, decompress after a long day at work. So, you know, for example, if you go into freshness and you tap it on passenger and driver side, it kind of starts pumping in this vibrant sound. You know, it's meant to mimic ocean or waves or maybe just breeze or something like that, and it's got this cool graphic. Now, when there is an individual sitting in the passenger side, it will allow me to turn that screen on. Right now it's just showing you a AMG screen, but if somebody was sitting there, it would actually project the rest of this image onto the passenger side. It looks really cool. And as you can see, it also changes the ambient lighting. It actually turned on my ventilated seats. It also changed the amount of airflow going in, so it's cooled it down a little bit. It also turns on the fragrance system. So it's a pretty cool system. I've seen something kind of like it within the Genesis G90, but this is one of the first other vehicles that I've seen, and with the hyperscreen, it really looks cool. So this is warmth, where again, a really cool graphic, but you can play around with a dozen different modes here, and it's just cool because this is an OLED display, and this kind of takes it or uses its full capabilities, because you can actually, you know, see all of this stuff. And then there is a mode where you can go through various meditation settings, where this vehicle will actually walk you through some muscle relaxation and some de-stressing methods so that you can, feel a little bit better driving home after a long day. But that pretty much finishes off today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, and also check out my full comprehensive review of this vehicle. I'm gonna throw it up on the screen. And also check me out on all the social media at Schwazy_. Until next time, everybody, I hope you stay Schwazy, stay healthy, have a wonderful day.